A look at Guillermo del Toro's darkest Pinocchio scene. Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at Guillermo del Toro's darkest Pinocchio scene. Let's get right into it. Pinocchio has been a beloved character for generations. After numerous classic Disney adaptations, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio was received with excitement when the filmmaker brought his version of the little wooden puppet to life on Netflix. However, Del Toro and his co-director Mark Gustafsson talked about a recently revealed dark scene in the film that was cut for pacing reasons. The directors of Pinocchio have weighed in on the decision to remove this pivotal moment, providing insight into how it could have impacted the film. Speaking to Comic Book, Guillermo del Toro revealed that we had Mussolini shooting Pinocchio early on, but we originally had it as a shooting squad. Mark Gustafsson then added, "We had it as a shooting squad on the beach. That seemed a little dark, so we came to our senses." While it undoubtedly added an aggressive and disturbing tone to Pinocchio, the directors of the film believed that this scene was just not necessary and therefore had it excised. He said, "What it was the rhythm. We had already shot most of that scene, but the movie took a big pause for a scene that was just not necessary." He then added, "We said, let's be more reasonable and shoot him directly." The director's dark vision for Pinocchio was ultimately cut back. However, it is intriguing to consider how the film might have turned out if they had stuck to their original plan. Del Toro's spot-motion animated film is based on Chris Grimley's 2002 retelling of the classic fairy tale, which Del Toro was no doubt drawn to for its moody, haunted carnival trappings. Stop-motion animation is ideal for this adaptation, effectively capturing the unsettlingly human-like physicality of this wooden puppet brought to life. There's also a sense of whimsy to be found, both in Grimley's cozy, throwback old-fashionedness and Del Toro's more modern wiggle. This Pinocchio adaptation is rather disarmingly about death. Geppetto, played by David Bradley, the Harry Potter actor, not the former senator, is bereaved over the death of his son in an air raid. It's World War II, and Italians like Geppetto are trapped under Il Duce's iron grip, which means something fatal hangs in the air not just around Geppetto, grieving and drinking, but around pretty much everyone. How fortunate then that a wood sprite, voiced with a slight menace by Tilda Swinton, should arrive and turn Geppetto's mad creation, a wooden boy carved out of a tree that stands over his son's grave, into a happy, heedless little boy. Alternatively, almost little boy. Of course, he's somewhere in the middle. A herky-jerk creature of unnatural origin, who Geppetto initially greets with appropriate horror. Gregory Mann's Pinocchio is certainly frightening in his first lurch into being, but he quickly proves endearing. With all of his amiable joie de vivre, his enthusiasm for the world when so much of it is turned into a nightmare, how could he not be? Fans of the 1940 Disney film Pinocchio will recognize only a few story beats here. There is a talking cricket, but he is called Sebastian here, and he is played by Ewan McGregor, a roving writer. A wicked puppeteer captures Pinocchio, but he is named Count Volpe in this film, and is a more slinking, sinister creation than Disney's Stromboli. Perhaps the most significant difference is that instead of heading to Pleasure Island and turning into a donkey, Pinocchio is conscripted into Mussolini's youth army, taught to attack and kill in a tragic violation of his guileless optimism. Perhaps the most mature change is that Pinocchio keeps dying. Shot, he's run over by a car, and so on, which sends him to the underworld to converse with Death, also voiced by Swinton, and discover his immortal nature. This may be too much for very young children, but for the older, more adventurous and steely-hearted, there is something poetic, even comforting, about Pinocchio confronting these murky mysteries of existence. The entire film, fraught with danger and lifting with poignant melancholy, is an exercise in exploring the seams between life's pleasures and its terrible pains. A film that turns toward our grim era and wrestles some measure of hope and kindness out of it, or rather, proves its steadfast existence by showing what forces like fascism or predacious opportunists can't entirely snuff out. The film's lovely construction, with its fluid and clever animation and deft and soulful voice performances, should be universally admired. Cate Blanchett plays an evil monkey who has a change of heart. Isn't that reason enough to take the risk? After all, having Netflix means never having to regret purchasing tickets again. If there's one small advantage to the couch-bound era of streaming, it's that you can always turn the movie off and watch something safer if necessary. Pinocchio is an iconic film that has been remade numerous times, none as masterfully as Guillermo del Toro's. It recently received a near-perfect Rotten Tomatoes rating of 97%, which is more than 3 times higher than Disney's Pinocchio remake. This demonstrates how powerful and timeless a classic story can be in today's world when given the right innovative twist. Guillermo del Toro recognized Pinocchio as more than a fable and successfully captured the emotional complexity of this vibrant character. Pinocchio was brought to life in a way that had not been seen since 1940. It comes as no surprise then that this version of Pinocchio has been received with overwhelming praise. Most people who have seen both films agree that Del Toro's interpretation is superior. Pinocchio's critical acclaim and audience reception speak for themselves. The director has created a work of art that will be remembered. Pinocchio, directed by Guillermo del Toro, is now available on Netflix. That's all for today, and we'll be sure to catch you all in the next one.